What's going on, everybody? It's the France, and we're here for our AEW on TNT review for August the 27th, 2020. We are almost into September, which means All Out is actually, if I am correct, next week. Yes, next week is All Out. Can you believe it? That close. Well, going into All Out, we have ourselves a 4-tag team elimination gauntlet match. The winning team goes to face Adam Hangman Page and Kenny Omega at All Out. This match, of course, has the Best Friends, Natural Nightmares, and the Young Bucks, and FTR. Of course, the obvious pick in this entire thing, with the way AEW is perfectly building this, is FTR going to All Out. And I've been calling this for weeks, and they added another wrinkle into this tonight. So, the Young Bucks started off against the Natural Nightmares. So, they started off. Brandy Rhodes was nowhere to be seen, selling the attack she took from Anna Jay last Saturday. Last Saturday was a hell of an episode of the show. This week, they continued that on. But this match went about 10-15 minutes. And the Young Bucks, and it still shows that QT Marshall is not in the league of the Young Bucks. And of course, Dustin Rhodes is not there. He's hanging on to a career that has seen a resurgence in AEW. BTE trigger for the win, and the Young Bucks move on. Now we have the Young Bucks versus the Best Friends. The thing coming into this entire match, obviously the prediction of who was going to actually win, it was obvious who it was going to be. FTR had not had a title match yet. Young Bucks have, in that awesome match at Revolution. Natural Nightmares had one, and so did the Best Friends. But who was going to face FTR going into that final match? Now, I said this last week. I don't think I said it on here, but I said this to my dad a couple times, and I've said it also online. This obviously needed to go to the Best Friends. The Bucks versus FTR, first time ever, was not to be wasted on regular live TV. That match needs to be at the November pay-per-view. If it's Full Gear, it's Full Gear. If it's anything else, whatever they want to call it, that should be where you see FTR versus the Young Bucks. If you can draw it all the way to Double or Nothing next year, which I highly doubt it, that's fine. But the way this needed to go down was the Young Bucks needed to lose this match. So we go to the FTR versus the Young Bucks. I'm sorry, FTR versus the Young Bucks then. But how did this go down? Well, this match happened the way it did. You had Chuck, I believe it was Chuck, of the Best Friends, knee getting injured early on. They were brawling. They had themselves a hell of a match here. And it looked like we were going to have the typical Young Bucks hit the Meltzer driver for the win. When out of nowhere, I don't know where he came from, they're going for the Meltzer driver, but Nick's on the apron, and Adam Hangman Page comes running down, grabs the leg, and the way he's doing this, he's not holding him to where they can see him. He's holding Nick's leg, but looking away. He's looking away the entire time because he can't look at everything that's been going on and trying to betray somebody who sees him as a friend. So Matt gets rolled up. 1, 2, 3. The Young Bucks are out. Hangman is standing over by the heel side of the barrier because yes, there were actual fans up. We had 500 paying customers to watch this show, and I can tell you right now, it made such a huge difference. Fuck the Thunderdome. Fuck seeing a member of the KKK in the rally, or Chris Benoit, Fire Velveteen Dream, any other stupid bullshit. People doing thumbs up or thumbs down. None of that shit. This was actual fucking fans here. Booing, cheering, singing Judas when Chris Jericho came out for commentary tonight. This was fantastic. This is what we needed to hear in AEW. I am so glad we got 500 fans. It made such a difference, and it felt normal for the first time in 5 months. But the best friends win. Hangman, the Bucks are not happy. They're trying to figure out, what the hell are you doing, Paige? What the hell was that? Why would you cost us? He walks away, goes up the ramp, up into the bows, or the balcony part of the thing, and they are gone. So FTR makes their way out. They take on the best friends. This match did not last very long. Chuck is compromised. His knee is done. Taylor really didn't get to do much in this. He got a jawbreaker on Harwood. Wheeler tries to get Trent off the apron, gets kicked away. Tully with a ref distraction. Wheeler pulls Trent off the apron, suplexes him onto the floor, which, by the way, at the beginning of this thing, Dash, I think it was. Let me see here. Dax Harwood, not Dash, but Dax Harwood got, Cash really got thrown into Dax really hard. Dax tagged in, and he hit, they slammed the wheel so hard, he fell outside. Trent tries to roll up Cash. The referee is trying to tell him, oh, no, that's not the right guy, but he goes for the pin anyway. That doesn't work out. But then, yes, Taylor goes for Wheeler and gets chop blocked by Harwood. Wheeler tags in, works over Taylor. Harwood, they do the spot that they did when they made the Raw debut and attack the leg of Xavier Woods. They did this in NXT as well a couple times, where they would wrap your leg up and then one would do a knee drop onto you, or a stomp onto your knee, and then they put him in a knee bar and they tap out. So FTR win the final match easily, going on to face Hangman Adam Page and Kenny Omega at All Out. I'm telling you, this is what's going to happen. Especially with everything that happened tonight with the Young Bucks and Hangman Page screwing them out of a championship opportunity. Hangman Adam Page is going to walk away from Kenny Omega during that match. And FTR is going to pick the bones of Kenny Omega, who's going to be by himself. And they are going to win the tag team titles. And Hangman Adam Page is going to join them. And I don't know if you're going to go with Shawn Spears or somebody else for the fourth member. And there will be your four horsemen of AEW. Will they be called the Four Horsemen? No, they should not be. It should be a totally different name so they can have their own identity. That's simple. So, Darby Allin, we see a video of Darby Allin with thumbtacks still on his back, walks down a road with a paper mask on of Ricky Starks. Allin climbs up on top of a bridge and then leaps off and down into the river. He says, "You really think I'm afraid of you, Ricky? I'll show you. I'm not afraid of anything." Darby Allin is by far one of the craziest psychos I think I've ever seen. And people call him the modern day Jeff Hardy with the appeal of Sting with the whole face paint thing. And before COVID hit, you would see kids wearing Darby Allin face paint. Yeah. Darby Allin is one crazy son of a bitch. Now, the Casino Battle Royal was announced for All Out. Darby Allin and Lance Archer are both announced for this match. Winner gets a future AEW Heavyweight Championship opportunity. So, we also find out in this show that Ricky Starks will be in there too, and so will Brian Cage. So that is 4 of supposed to be 30 men in this Battle Royal. Who's going to win it? I don't know. I cannot say anything or make a prediction on this until we get all 30, if we even get all 30. Now, I will say this about the Battle Royal. When the Battle Royal ends and we have a winner, the winner of that match will tell me who's winning the world title match in the main event. That's how I'm going to predict that. The winner of the Battle Royal will foreshadow if MJF or Jon Moxley win on that day. So, we get Lance Archer taking on NXT Reject, Sean Maluda. Sean Maluda, last time I believe we saw him was in NXT, being a jobber to the stars. He didn't do well enough. I guess he got released back in April on Black Wednesday, my bad. So he makes his debut, getting the hell beat out of him by Lance Archer. Lance Archer wins quite easily, destroying the Sean Maluda, and off you go. After the match, Roberts talks about upcoming Casino Battle Royal. He says, the other men that think they have a shot, but they don't, Archer is going to be the one walking out and needs to wipe that one loss off his record. He asks Archer if he could throw out 20 other guys. Archer says as fast as they step in, they're going to out because everybody dies. All of a sudden, we hear this weird new music. I thought we were going to get a debut of somebody, maybe somebody who's going to be added to the Battle Royal who's from the independents that nobody's known about. But no. It's Taz, Ricky Starks, and Brian Cage. So apparently, Team Taz has their own set of music now, even though it sounded generic as shit. He announces both guys are in the match. One of them are going to win. Darby Allin, then his music hits. And he skateboards to the ring. Goes immediately after Ricky Starks. He beats the hell out of him, chasing him all the way to the back. And then in the middle of the ring, we have Jake Roberts and Taz holding the big men off. Both of these big men want to brawl. They're going to be in the Battle Royal. I'm hoping this is what we're going to see. That these guys are going to be in the Battle Royal, plus have a singles match against each other for the FTW title at All Out. This match, I believe Brian Cage asked for a couple weeks ago, or somebody asked Brian Cage on Twitter a couple weeks ago about having a match with Lance Archer at All Out. And Brian Cage was all for it. So even though they're going to be in the Battle Royal, I want to see them have a match, singles match too. Same thing with Ricky Starks and Darby Allin. This feud has been building to where it deserves a singles match at All Out. So I hope that we get that singles match at All Out. Backstage, we see MJF coming in view. He's wearing a neck brace and using a walker and makes his way to the ring. He feels like one of his campaign guys, it was Lee Johnson, is laughing. He says he better not be. He slowly makes his way to the ring for tonight's contract signing. Hype video of the Women's Championship match, Hikaru Shida versus Thunder Rosa for All Out. We see clips of Rosa winning her title in the NWA. We actually hear Billy Corgan talking about when AEW management came to him about this. He was all for it. He feels champions should be facing champions all the time, and he can't wait to see, like, the AEW fans who don't know a Thunder Rosa are going to see what she is all about. I cannot wait for this match. We do see them sign a quick contract. So they sign. Thunder Rosa goes to grab the title and say, this is going to be mine. But Shida grabs the championship, holds it up, and in Japanese says, I will win. So again, Thunder Rosa, I've seen in the NWA. I've seen what she does. I've seen what she can do. She is an outstanding talent. And I'm glad that Billy Corgan, honestly, I swear, this is something that NWA is going to be working with everybody they can. Billy Corgan is one of those guys who wants to see see wrestling prosper. Wants to see the NWA get back to a little bit of what it used to be. Seeing all these talents working together. I guarantee you, if Billy Corgan could, he would work with WWE. He would work at AEW. He would work with New Japan. He would work with Ring of Honor, which they had a partnership. I don't know what's going on with that. He would work with Impact Wrestling. He has in the past. So my idea of AEW versus NWA in Blood and Guts at the November pay-per-view would be fantastic, I think. 5 men from AEW, 5 men from NWA, first in a Blood and Guts War Games type match, just for company supremacy. Of course, AEW will probably win, unless you want to throw a curveball and have an NWA win to continue that partnership. And then when the NWA gets building back up, because let's think about this. Ricky Starks made his name for a lot of guys. When Ricky Starks first had that match against Cody, I knew who he was because of the NWA. Eddie Kingston, I knew about Eddie Kingston before the NWA, but he had been recently seen because of the NWA. You have guys like Eli Drake, James Stewart, Nick fucking Aldis. They could do something when Cody Rhodes comes back. At the November pay-per-view, they have only had 1 match each. We could have a rubber match for the NWA Championship. Of course, Nick Aldis would probably win. If you didn't want to put the title on, whatever. But we could have that rubber match between those two to give you that long conclusion for that title, or for that competition between those two. You could have James Storm make an appearance. You could have guys like Eddie Kingston make a return to the NWA. You could have guys like Ricky Starks come to the NWA again when they get back up and running to give them an opportunity to have a partnership between these two. Before COVID hit, Tuesday nights was NWA/AEW Dark. They were, and then TNA or Impact Wrestling if you watched that at 10 or at 8. But that was, if you watched wrestling all day from NWA to AEW Dark to Impact Wrestling, that's a good bit of wrestling, and it's 3 different styles. Hopefully, the Thunder Rosa deal is not the only thing we see between the NWA and AEW, because in my opinion, it would work great for both companies to continue to work down this path of wrestling, like these wrestling companies working between each other. I just think that's a great idea. So, MJF slowly heads out to the ring for the contract signing. He sits on one side of the table with the rest of his campaign crew and his lawyer. Jon Moxley makes his way down to the stage. Big reaction to Moxley from the fans. Moxley sits on the other side of the table. Commentary notes Moxley is number 1 in this year's PWI 500, which I'm not surprised. The dude has had a renaissance of a career since coming to AEW. And man, what the difference a year and plus months make. From his disastrous last 6 or 7 months, of 4 or 5 or 6 months, or whatever it was, in WWE, coming to AEW, becoming Jon Moxley again, working his way up to becoming the AEW heavyweight champion, the second one ever, and just becoming the best champion they've had so far. Even though Chris Jericho was a fantastic champion, first champion, Moxley has taken that title to another level. And if MJF wins next Saturday, it's going to take that title to an even bigger level, in my opinion. Moxley sits on the other side. Commentary notes he's number 1. MJF's lawyer says it's time to sign to have the paradigm shift banned at All Out. MJF signs it immediately. Moxley isn't so fast. MJF says he knows most contract signings end up in a brawl. After Moxley's gutless attack, as much as he wants to come over and smack Moxley, he's going to hold off. He tells Moxley to follow social distancing, which is kind of funny, because he says this when you have Lee Johnson, his female campaign manager, Wardlow, and his lawyer all within a vicinity of each other. He says, I hope you follow social distancing. It's like your hairline. Moxley says, don't worry, you'll get there someday. But you have to hit puberty first. I thought that was fucking hilarious. Let's see here. MJF refers to the crazy one-trick pony Jon Moxley is, but MJF is he might be wrong about the champ, but he's good, real good. He's actually a badass. He brings up Mike Tyson being backstage at one of the shows a couple months ago and said he wouldn't want to be in a dark alley with a guy like Jon Moxley. And he says that's hell of a praise from the baddest man on the planet. But I wouldn't want to be MJF does say he wouldn't want to be there in a dark alley with Jon Moxley either. But at All Out, you're not in a dark alley. You're in a danger because MJF is a wrestling prodigy. He will pinpoint Moxley's weaknesses. He'll use every aspect of the ring for his advantage. He says Moxley will want him in his territory, the stairs, near the tables, the guardrails. MJF continues that Moxley just studies guys like Sandman, New Jack, Onita, John, hot garbage. MJF says that he studies Buddy Rogers and the Tully Blanchards of the world. Says after the pay-per-view, he'll hold this title unless Moxley isn't man enough to beat him without the paradigm shift. And that's the case. Maybe he should just tell that hot little wife of his that I'm single. It's kind of funny that it just came out last week that Renee Young is leaving WWE. And all of a sudden, last Saturday, Moxley brings up his wife. And tonight, MJF brings up Moxley's wife. So if no one thinks that Renee is not coming to AEW, you're fooling yourself. I just find it completely funny that that's how it's like immediately, and that she's leaving WWE, And even before SummerSlam, we're getting references to his wife on AEW television. I find that funny. Moxley stands up. The lawyer tells him to keep his palms on the table or he'll sue. Moxley calls the lawyer a dickwad and tells him to sit down. He sits back down and says MJF is just forcing him to get creative. All the ways he could snap a limb or choke the air out of him, Moxley says he'll sign the contract because he doesn't want to get sued. He remembers two things. Nothing MJF says matters and nothing Moxley signs matters. He tells MJF on September 5th he's a dead man. Signs it. MJF is super happy about it. They laugh at Moxley for signing it. Moxley says he couldn't believe MJF agreed to page 17. MJF and his lawyer say there's only 16 pages. On the 17th page it says next week it'll be Jon Moxley versus MJF's lawyer. And the paradigm shift is legal. And if you don't show up, then MJF doesn't get his title shot. So that is that. Starting next week. So next week, Moxley is going to have some fresh meat to beat up on, and he outsmarted MJF and his lawyer. I fucking love it. I can't believe MJF is just so good at being this guy that he is. He is a student of the game, 100%, but my God, is he just so good at what he does. He is just so good at being MJF, and it's crazy. Backstage, Santana and Ortiz talk to best friends about only asking for some lame apology after they destroyed Trent's mom's van. Ortiz says they will apologize to their mom, that their mom wasn't in the van when they destroyed it. Backstage, we hear from Eddie Kingston. Says that the internet is talking about Kingston's group being a stable. Kingston says these guys are his people. They are about championships, and that's what he's going to show them. So we got the Lucha Bros, the Butcher, the Blade. I'm going to get this right. The Lucha Bros, the Butcher, and the Blade versus Griff Garrison, Sonny Kiss, Joey Janela, and Brian Pillman Jr. Now, my question is Brian Pillman Jr. actually signed to AEW? It's hardly weird to see a guy like Brian Pillman Jr., who we know, as far as I know, is still contracted to MLW. Now, being on Dark is one thing. That's one thing. But to be on here, on national TV, live, as a member of a... I know they got destroyed and everything. But is Brian Pillman Jr. actually signed with AEW? I mean, that'd be great and everything. And they did make a bunch of references to his father. But this match didn't last very long. Phoenix and Pentagon hit the double stomp power driver onto Pillman. Pillman takes the pinfall, and that was that. Butcher, Blade, and the Lucha Bros get the win. Kingston tells the ref to raise their winners' hands. He then announces that all of them are in the Casino Battle Royal. So we are filling up pretty fast. That is 8 talents, right? Let me see here. We got the Lucha Bros, the Butcher, the Blade, I'm sure Wardlow's going to be in it, but it hasn't been announced yet. Oh, crap. So, the Butcher, the Blade, Lucha Bros, Lance Archer, Ricky Starks, Darby Allin, and Brian Cage. That's 8 talents. That's a hell of a squad right there. And we still have at least 12, probably more to go. They have nothing new on Cody's conditions, and things are being kept quiet for some reason. Then the Dark Order head out with a casket, and Evil Uno says the group has been Cloud 9 since last weekend. The group did a lot of spending last week. They said the celebration is as much as Lee's title win as for taking out Cody. They open the casket, and Man is in there with the Nightmare Family jacket over his face. It's just 10, who then has one of those Nightmare Family fake tattoos on him. He said he gets out, and Nunes says the Nightmare Fairy is dead and gone. The new prince is Brodie Lee. He heads out with Anna Jay, who has a pink folder in her hand, or one of those pink folder-looking things in her hand. He then goes to the Shivani and tells him to get into the ring for an interview. Lee tells Tony that not too long ago, all people in the group were being laughed at because of people like Tony. He does pretty much bring up that last episode of AEW last year, that final segment where the Dark Order attacked the Elite, and everybody panned it. Everybody hated it. People made fun of it. People thought it was a terrible way to end AEW's final episode on TNT for 2019. And from that moment on, I believe Tony Khan has taken a bigger approach to the creative aspect of the show, and things have been looking up ever since. He says, no more indie talents getting TV time. Lee officially introduces the Queen Slayer, Anna Jay, as the newest member of the show. John Silver then jumps on the mic and says, Lee is the man. Lee smacks him in the face and puts in, someone pick this little dip shit up. Says Dark Order is the hottest act in wrestling. He's the hottest champion right now, and nobody can do anything about it. Dustin and QT Marshall come out to attack the group, but they don't get much offense in. Scorpio Sky then jumps in the ring and looks at Lee for a moment, says a few things. Jay ends up slapping him, and then Lee knocks him back from behind. As part of the group heads to the back, Evil Uno lingers behind and celebrates some more. Matt Cardona runs out, drops him with his finisher. Cardona then clears the ring with the rest of the guys, the Dark Order, Sky, Dustin, and QT. Lee comes back out and sees what's going on, yells at the group in the ring while holding up the title. Now, I know they're not supposed to be a big group or like a strong group, and it's supposed to be it's supposed to be a bunch of bodies for Brodie Lee to just throw out there. But this was a moment for them to just have the Dark Order have their promo, him hold the title up, and they go to commercial break, showing them have one moment of just strength of the Dark Order. Was it going to be forever? No. But they could have did better than that. Dasha finds Hangman Page in the bar to ask why he did what he did to the Young Bucks. Matt and Nick ask why as they come into frame, wondering if he should be afraid to face them again. Matt says they wanted a friend, and he was good enough to be this the whole time. Matt says Page is nothing but a drunk. Smacks the drink, takes the drink out of his hand and throws it in his face. Says, ever since November, they've hung out onto something that doesn't even exist anymore. You're out of the elite. We're done. They slam the door. They mirror cracked, and we just see Hangman Page looking into the cracked mirror. I'm telling you, he's going to turn on Kenny Omega, walking out, allowing FTR to win. They may even beat up Kenny Omega after the match. I don't know. That's going to be something we'll have to wait and see. Big Swole versus Britt Baker, Rebel, and Penelope Ford. 3-on-1 handicap match. If Big Swole wins this match, apparently thanks to Britt Baker's words, she gets any match anytime that she wants against Britt Baker. Swole gets the win. Nothing about that. I don't give a shit. It was a nothing match. The matches like this shows that the women's division is just lacking. So, next week, Santana and Ortiz will take on the Best Friends. Jericho will take on Joey Janela for some reason. Private Party and SCU versus Young Bucks and Jurassic Express. The winning teams will face each other at All Out. So, we are either going to see Private Party versus SCU or Young Bucks and Jurassic Express at the pay-per-view. Then at ringside, Anna Jay, Evil Uno, and Grayson come over to the heel side, and they have that pink folder that says "Join Us" on it with the logo. Then we pan over, and we see Tay Conte, who was teaming with Anna Jay in the tag team tournament. Didn't make it all the way, but so they hand her the package. She grabs it, and then she asks for a hug from Anna Jay. They embrace, and it looks like she has joined the Dark Order. The Dark Order have two of the fastest rising stars in the women's division who could be cornerstones to help build this women's division and be pillars to the women's division. And honestly, if they want to keep the Nightmare Sisters, which are terrible and don't need to be a team, here's your foil. Here you go. You have Anna Jay and Tay Conti with the Dark Order. Matt Hardy versus Sammy Guevara, tables match. This match, really the story of this match happened during the commercial break, which I fucking hate this, but I looked away, and honestly, you could actually, and this is the first time I've ever seen this in AEW, maybe it's something they didn't mean to do or they're going to do from now on. You had, during the picture-in-picture, you could not hear the full audio, but you could hear, like, Sammy Guevara went for a 450 from the inside to the outside on the Matt Hardy on the table. Matt moved. You can actually hear Sammy crash through the table. There's a couple other spots that happened during the commercial break, but somewhere in this commercial break, Sammy Guevara on his left side got a nasty, big, huge gash on the left side of his face, on his left side of his head. And he just bled. But the match ended with the Matt Hardy brought a table out that says deleted on it. He put that in the ring. There was a chair he put it on top of because the chair was folded out and standing up. He goes up he has Sammy Guevara on top of it. He goes up, but he can't do anything. He's just wobbly. He's going to fall over. And then Sammy goes up, suplexes him through the table. Sammy Guevara wins. Before anything else can happen, we hear Orange Cassidy's music hit, and in the background of everything, you just see him blitz across the screen, attacks Chris Jericho, and they have a nice little big brawl leading up to All Out, and that's how the show went off the air, with those two brawling, and we get ready for next week, the go-home week of All Out. That is your AEW on TNT review. It was a heck of a show. Hit that subscribe button. Comment down below. Like or dislike this video. Find me on Twitter at The France Club. Find me on twitch.tv/The France Club. Find me on Instagram at The France Club. And I'll see you guys